Hello guys, it is me, Guitar Fan 34, and welcome back to another video. And I figured I review a couple of movies, just like random reviews or things like that. But just a couple of random things in here. But I figured I'd rewatch this film again. And you can tell by the title, I'll be reviewing this, the Kentucky Fried Movie. And of course, I'll be following this review with this Amazon Women on the Moon. She got that as a birthday gift, and I got this one as a gift as well. So, the Kentucky Fried Movie. I know this DVD apparently I think is out of print, and I think it goes for like $30-some and up on Amazon. I also know Shout Factory apparently has released this on Blu-ray. I would like to pick up the Blu-ray at some point of the Kentucky Fried Movie, but I'm keeping the DVD because it was a gift and it's out of print. So, but anyways, on to the movie itself. The Kentucky Fried Movie, pretty much for 83 minutes, it's an 83-minute movie with credits. It's basically a bunch of newscasts and fake trailers, fake commercials, comedy sketches, and things like that. This is really the film that really inspired movies like Movie 43 and Inappropriate Comedy, which those are pieces of crap. I'll get to Movie 43. But we're sticking with the Kentucky Fried Movie here. It came out in 1977, and he had quite a few people involved within this film. This was directed by John Landis, of all people. John Landis. And apparently I read up somewhere that because of this film, because of the success of this movie, because this was a big cult movie, and later, it did really well at the time that it came out too, but John Landis said the reason why he was recommended to do Animal House was because of this movie. Because this movie was critically successful and things like that, they said, hey, why don't we get this guy to direct Animal House? So, in a way, you could say John Landis got the job for directing Animal House because of this movie. So, and he also had a lot of people involved. He had Jerry Zucker, Jim Abrams, and David Zucker, who, these are the same guys that went on to do The Naked Gun, Airplane, among many others. So you have the Zucker brothers, Jim Abrams, John Landis. And there's a few people in the cast that you'll recognize. You have Bill Bixby, who was in the Incredible Hulk TV show. You have George Lazenby, who was in some of the James Bond films. He's in one of them. Donald Sutherland is in a skit. Things like that. But the Kentucky Fried Movie, to review this film, I'm not going to go over every single sketch, but I'll mention a couple here and there. Now, the thing is, for those of you that are interested in watching this movie, there is one of these skits in here where it's a commercial for a board game called Scot Free, which is a board game that's based on the JFK conspiracy theories. Oh, yeah, you landed on this, and you got to spin the thing to see if the public agrees with your opinion. Oh, the public agrees with your opinion. You got to spin this thing on a board game. It's like a Monopoly, in board game, but it's just so outrageous. It's so out there. It's insane. Just think of it's a JFK conspiracy theory board game. So, it's just so insane. And of course, you have once in a while, every couple seconds, there's a newscast. Like at the very beginning of the movie, you see the newscast say, "The popcorn that you've been eating has been pissed in." Filmed at 11. Now, other ones in the film that are for sketches wise, there's a lot of they parody those exploitation movies. Like one of them is called Catholic Schoolgirls in Trouble, That's a fun one. One of the best ones in here, in my opinion, is the feel around. Is called the feel around, where a guy goes to the movie theater. Nowadays, this is kind of like a predecessor to the 4D experience at movie theaters nowadays, where like in the 4D, I think that's what they call it, 4D, when you go to the theaters, like they blow smoke and there's fog and there's like water, they blow bubbles, and it's like the movie, say like for example, like if there's one scene in the movie where it's raining, like there'd be like drops of water falling on you in the theater, so that way you can afford the experience. So basically, this guy goes to the theater, and every single person that's in the theater, there's an usher next to them, and whichever the usher does, whatever the movie's doing. So there's like things going on, like the cameras are being shaken around or things like that, like their seats are getting wobbled, like the usher's like shaking their seats, so that way it makes it look like they're moving along with the movie. And there's even a point where there's a fight breaking out in the movie, and the usher like pulls a knife on the customer, and the customer's face, he's like. So it's just a fun sketch where they want you to afford the experience at the movie theater. So that's a really fun one. The main sketch in this one, that's about 30-some minutes of this movie, is a kung fu parody, which is kind of like a parody of like an Enter the Dragon called A Fistful of Yen. And the guy that's actually the kind of like the Bruce Lee character is actually, I don't know the actor's name, but if you remember the Deadpool with Clint Eastwood, that was Clint Eastwood's partner in the Deadpool, who plays the Bruce Lee looking character in this movie. And there's it's like a whole take of like Enter the Dragon. There's like a little bit of an homage to the end of that skit where it's like a Wizard of Oz, where he's back at home, like everything was a dream, kind of like how Dorothy thought maybe she was dreaming when she went to Oz, and things like that. Other ones, that's just some of the skits that I wanted that really like I wanted to talk about, because there's a lot of other like smaller commercials. There's one thing about like aspirin. Like I said before, just the JFK conspiracy theory board game is just so insane. And of course they cut back once, and there's another point where to the 11 o'clock news skit, like the very end says like the guy says the news anchor reports like that he's not wearing any pants. Film at 11. And there's also another one where the 11 o'clock news shows up, and the guy says, the Rams were hurt by fumbles by an earthquake. Film at 11. But yeah, the Kentucky Fried Movie, I say, if you want to see a really good version of like a parody, like comedy anthology movie, I say this is highly recommended. It's a must-watch. I think it's one of my favorite films from the 70s. It's easily one of my favorite comedies from the 70s. And just have a lot of these people being involved. John Landis, the Zucker brothers, Jim Abrams, and some of the people in there like George Lazenby, Bill Bixby, Donald Sutherland, things like that. But the Kentucky Fried Movie, I say it's highly recommended that you check this out. It's a really fun flick, and of course I know maybe there are some sketches in this film that not many people would probably understand, because back then it was a lot. They parodied a lot more things back during that time in the 70s. Like there's one with Hare Krishnas, which is pretty big back in the 70s and 80s. But the Kentucky Fried Movie, I say, is really worth watching. I say my favorite of these kind of things is this, but I'll get to that when I review that next. But I still say the Kentucky Fried Movie is well worth your time. Really fun movie. So that is pretty much it for my review for the Kentucky Fried Movie. And thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.